Assalamualaikum. My name is Amirah Zahidah binti BUANG, and I will present about introduction. First, aside from confederation and union system, the federal system was reportedly one of the most well-liked political unitary system toward the end of World War II. The word federalism is derived from the Latin word "feudus", which denotes a league or alliance for nature for the purpose of mutual assistance and combined action. Second, the term federalism refers to a group of states that consist to join together under a single centralized government. It should be noted that under this system, the state can still maintain their own sovereignty in some administrative area, even though there will be administrative aspects that are uniform. Federal established a federal constitution that grants state authority over some matter of a local nature, while also creating a centralized government to address concerns of common interest. Third, federalism is a form of mixed or coalition government that divides power between the two, while combining the general government or central or federal government and the regional government or state or region in one political system. The Malaysian government is one of the examples of practicing federal system. Federalism is a system of political structure that brings together diverse state or other polities. Use are possible to that enable each to keep their individual integrity. Lastly, there are two levels of government in the system, and both they are federal and state government must abide by the federal constitution. That's it from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is NABISHAH binti MANOKRAN. So today I will present about ethnic diversity. Malaysia is the one nation that home to people of many different ethnic groups. Confronted with the issue that ethnic relation, the question of historical context that leads to the conduct of society today has been understood in order of the problem of the ethnic relation and the issue that present its entirety. People living in nations that culturally and racially diverse are going need to work extremely to maintain healthy interaction with another one. The problem of racial unity highly critical and establish political stability to ensure that country progress continue and without the hindrance. It is critical that unity be achieved. The energy of nation is to be direct toward the advancement of nation rather than toward the revolution of issue brought on by country racial diverse population. Despite of the fact that period independence there have been concerns among the people of this country, creation of constitutional has higher law of Malaysia that crisis occurred in 1969 in May 30 incident democratic that Malaysians do not yet have a nation culture that become common foundation. This was case despite that the fact the people their country have worked together to drop the constitution. Every ethnic group follow the norm of their own culture and their own way. During the so-called Ghost Month, for instance, Muslims will pray 5 times a day, and Chinese will burn the yellow paper in order the work of evil spirit as their respective belief. Some of these civilizations are to members of other racial group. For instance, burning the yellow paper may take is difficult for a person who suffer from the respective conditions such as asthma, and the yard of the home that have farted away from the source of the smoke. This kind of racism between various ethnic groups may be inferred from the fact that political parties such as UMNO, MCA, and MIC, as well the newspaper and television program are written at broadcast language that correspond in the ethnic group for whom they are produced. The race-based politics is more about protecting and fighting for right for each races, and its primary goal is to do so. Although there are also political is not based on the race, it seems like multiracial community are likely to maintain their respective identity and defend different value, culture, idea with the community group. This unequal distribution of economic growth and political power is the one primary factor that contribute to racial tension in political discourse. If we look like scenario of Malaysia, we can see that Chinese have majority of economic power while Malay people are control the political system. This because of British colonial rule in Malaya during this time period, the community was segregated from the economic standpoint and according the individual races settlement. After the country gained the independence, Chinese business people have maintained their monopoly on Malaysia economic because they have access of the large amount of money and used to advertise the commercial world. The unfavorable impact of this politic that have been placed ever since the colonial period have contributed to the isolation that exists between different ethnic groups. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. For those of you who don't know me already, my name is Siti BINTI ABDUL. Today, I'm going to tell you about the failure factors of Malaysian federalism, which is a language issue. Malaysia's cultural diversity is famous. Its beauty has drawn visitors from throughout the world. Malaysians, Chinese, and Indians live there. Malay Malaysians live worldwide. They follow their religious and cultural beliefs despite their global dispersion. Thus, understanding Malaysian culture and religion is crucial. Despite Harold Joseph Lasky 1939 declaration that the time of federalism is end, the system continues to operate in 29 nations and is becoming more relevant as the world's socio-cultural diversity grows. In the postmodern age, where pluralism is valued due to human societies, complete integration, the contractual political system founded in the first quarter of the 18th century is more relevant and applicable. Even though most indigenous people in Sabah and Sarawak speak Malay root language, only a small percentage of the population is Malay, complicating the linguistic situation. Most educated elites speak English. Few Malay speakers can match their English skill, excluding elites. The language issue is related to the Malaysianization issue because establishing Malay as the official language for the Borneo states will not only impose a minority language on these states but also create a hurdle for many educated Borneans who can compete for civil service employment. Sarawak has 23.4% Muslim and Sabah 37.9%. These states have particular provisions when Malaysia was founded to reduce the impact of Islam as national official religion. Certain states yang di-Pertuan Negara had to authorize federal founding for Muslim institutions. Federal funds for Islamic aid in other states were redirected to social welfare. The state legislative assembly need two-thirds approval to ban non-Muslim religious property of Muslim. The federal government has urged Borneo states to replicate Peninsular Malaysian policy on all these issues, stating that nation building requires uniformity. The federal government may easily intervene in local political dispute in Sabah and Sarawak to favour its national interest due to their political divisions. Thus, Kuala Lumpur political intervention has quietly undermined this state's constitutional local autonomy guarantees. The federal government's political tools against Borneo political leaders who demand states' rights include federal patronage, internal security trade, commerce, labour and emergency power. Is aimed to integrate Malaysian state into a functional political structure. Kuala Lumpur believes Malaysia must be communal and multiracial while respecting its Malay language, ethnic and cultural heritage. Singapore was expelled after challenging the latter assumption. Kuala Lumpur is hopeful about merging Sabah and Sarawak into Malaysia, but Singapore was too expensive. Federal officials have often said that no state may break away from Malaysia and that anti-Malaysian state autonomy advocates will be punished. That's all from me. Thank you.
Power imbalance. Power imbalance will cause the state not to be satisfied and create protest and demand. For example, the existence of the separatist movement in Sabah and Sarawak toward Malaysia federalism. Power imbalance is one of the factors of failures in Malaysia federalism. Sabah and Sarawak are two federal units that have their own privilege, such as autonomy in matters of religion, language, immigration, civil service and finance. Compared to the 11 other federal units, it is the privilege that makes the Federation of Malaysia to be known as asymmetrical federalism. Asymmetric federalism occurs when there is a difference in the degree of autonomy and power between federal units. Power imbalance occurs due to the fact that federal government has violated the provision of Article 20, which guarantee the special position of Sabah and Sarawak in the 1963 Malaysia Agreement, such as immigration, pronunciation in the civil service, privilege of Bumiputra in Sabah and Sarawak, as well as autonomy in finance. The second is that the merge was done without the actual consent of Sabah and Sarawak, since the whole process of the formation of Malaysia has been manipulated by the British Colonial Office, Malaysia Leader and Corporate Commissioner, without providing real information to the people of Sabah and Sarawak on the formation of Malaysia. Third, it's because the federal government did not recognize Sabah and Sarawak as the founding leaders that formed the Federation of Malaysia in 1963, together with the state of Malaysia and Singapore. Chin outlined 5 things that makes the issue of separatist movement a major challenge in the Malaysia Federation. The first one is due to discriminations against indigenous people. Bumiputra, the biggest compensation of indigenous people in Sabah, which is Kadazan Dusun Murut, KDM, and Dayak in Sarawak, feel that they are second-class Bumiputra in the Federation of Malaysia, since their ethnic receive less benefit compared to those of the majority ethnic of Malay Muslim. Second, the implementation of the political model of the Malay Peninsula in Sabah and Sarawak, where the majority ethnic are Christian. They were not satisfied with the domination of Malay Muslim element by the central. UMNO, that was in power at the federal level for 6 decades, stipulate that every chief minister in 2 states should be represented by Malay Muslim ethnic. This content among the non-Muslim ethnic groups. The third, the central government often intervenes in state administration. In Sarawak in 1966, Stephen Kalong Nikan, Sarawak first Iban Dayak chief minister, was removed from office when Kuala Lumpur saw his administration as anti-federalist and makes many legal changes that make it easy for Chinese to own land. In Sabah, on the other hand, the removal of the chief minister rotation system in 2004 that provide an opportunity for the main ethnic group to hold office has led to this certification of the non-Muslim Bumiputra due to the domination of only the Malay Muslim ethnic. The fourth is related to the issue of illegal immigration in Sabah. This issue is related with the activity of granting citizenship to Philippines and Indonesian Muslim to increase the area of Muslim domination seats and reduce the area of dominance of KDM ethnic that has been domination the Sabah state election seats. These factors of power imbalance has affected the unification of federation and makes the relationship between the federal government with Sabah and Sarawak often tense. This challenge has exacerbated when BN collapsed in general election 14, showing its component party from Sarawak leaving BN by setting up to the Gabungan Parti Sarawak.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is ISMAIZATUL ISMAIL. Today I want to talk about failure 4, which is Iblis economy. The Federal Constitution of Malaysia assigns clear responsibility to the federal states and local order of government. The much greater taxation power assigned to ability to collect taxes on individual and corporate income as well as tax on sale and tax resulting from export and import is delegated to the federal government. The Constitution places additional restriction on state government ability to borrow money, and state government are overly reliant on federal grants and loan to cover the rising cost of increasing expenditures brought on by rapid economic growth and urbanization. The fund that state and municipal government get through tax are simply insufficient to meet the cost of contemporary government operation. The Constitution gives the federal government the obligation of providing service in administration, defense, and internal security, education, medicine, health, labor, and social security in order to strike to balance in this equation. This expenditure have to some extent contributed to economic growth in the federated state, result in the establishment of government controlled firm at both the federal and state level. It is anticipated that privatization will lead to increase in both efficiency and reduction in expenditure made by government. If all goes according to plan, a government affiliated corporation should be able to generate new jobs and significantly broaden the revenue base of the federal government. But if failed, the corporation will call for a bailout from the federal government, which is a move that makes the burden to taxpayer even more significant. Moreover, the fiscal decentralization is not the solution to the budgetary issue faced by the state in Malaysia. Because the most states are rather small, there are many opportunities for economy of scale. Hence, fiscal decentralization may not be the best choice. Instead, there could be a review of state grants once every 5 years to ensure that the state government are able to keep their commitment to their constitution. A local government may find intervention that they believe will be advantageous for the community by obtaining bank loan and using asset bank security. There are certain municipalities that on consideration land holding that may be sold to generate revenue for new business start-up costs. Lastly is fiscal centralization has created popular outrage and discontentment in response to recent effort by the government to further slash subsidies on gas online. These efforts have been recent. They save subsidies totaling in 1.2 billion US or 4.4 billion in Malaysian ringgit will be used toward the establishment of the existing transportation system and infrastructure. However, The way the money is dispersed to the state and federal agency will need deeper comparison among officially at the all level of government, even though the federal government will continue to maintain the upper hand when it comes to making the ultimate decision. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, my turn again to present about conclusion. First, the concept of federalism refers to a form of governments in which separate but equally level of authority are exercised over the same geographic area. In most cases, greater administration of bigger geographical regions in the responsibility of an overarching national government, while concerns of local concerns are handled by smaller subdivisions, states and cities. Second, Malaysia's importance of federalism. Our system of federalism not only give the federal government the greatest legislative and executive responsibility, but it also provides the federal government with the most vital sources of income. The proceeds from things like income tax, export, import, and exercise levies do not flow to the state's government. And state's government also have a hard time getting loans from financial institutions in the other countries. That's it from us. Thank you.